guy battle. Wow.
An advantage for the Ranger. Remke had no helmet for Johnston, so those punches are going to hurt a little more when they land.
Let him go.
One guy 6'7", how big's Johnston? 6'5"?
No, I think he's 6'7" also. Yeah, they're doing. That's pretty good size.
My new favorite player, man. Come on.
I still laugh at that. That was awesome.
I love it, man. I love it. Welcome to the Instigators Hockey Show, everyone.
Yeah.
Katsopoulos over there. Next week we'll be working with the New York Rangers. It's good to hear that.
I'll be in for the Winnipeg game.
Yeah.
Winterpeg. I'm going to go see the Winterpeg team.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll be visiting somebody in between boxing in between the first and second period. So, and I'll get to see my old former teammates, Nikki Fatillo, Ryan Greshner, and friends. I haven't been to. I'm being honest with you, Paulie. I haven't been to a game all year, so I'm going to have some fun too.
You know what? I should have. If you would have told me, I would have asked you to get me a puck signed. But anyway,
I'll get right on.
I need a puck for the room here. I need a puck for the studio. You
got your outdoor game puck.
I know.
And your sign hat by one Ronald Duguay. You got that.
I got a hat signed by Ronald Duguay.
I could have got that puck signed by Butch Goring.
Oh no, thanks.
Actually, Butch is not a bad person. He's a good guy.
I understand. Listen,
he's a really good guy. He's actually pretty intelligent, smart.
But he's a long time owner, and I just can't do that. So
I know he fucking burned us the only year that I played with the Raiders in the playoffs. I still remember that shorthanded goal he scored that killed us.
What's boring, yeah. Anyway,
oh, Beth, how you doing?
Where is everybody? Let's see what we got there. Hi, Beth. So listen, we got a couple things to do. Obviously, we're going to talk a ton New York Rangers. We're going to get into the Matt Rempe situation, obviously, who is, he doesn't know it, but he's the mascot of this program at this point. He is currently my favorite player. It's hard for me to get attached to players, but I love that kid. I got a lot in common with him too. So, the good thing is it's going to be a quick show tonight. We're going to talk mostly New York Rangers, but I got to open the show with my favorite, Uncle Vinny.
Uncle Vinny!
Uncle Vinny! I almost.
A.K.A. Mr. John Tortorella, Paulie's favorite coach of all time.
I almost downloaded that video to show everyone. So Uncle Vinny decided to go fucking haywire in the game against Tampa where Philly just got absolutely blown out as they're remembering the 2004 Stanley Cup champs, Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, Brad Richards.
Fedotenko.
Huh?
Fedotenko,
all those guys.
Remember his interview? Remember his interview during the Stanley Cup?
No.
You don't remember that one there? He got interviewed when he was on the bench there in that Stanley Cup playoff that year that they won. They were talking. It was something about Tortorella being hard on him. He goes, "Yeah, I'm playing good, and I'd just like to stick it up somebody's bum." Look it up. It's a fact. He said it on air.
Oh, my God. Well, the reason
why
fucking Uncle Vinny screaming and
Hey.
yelling, I'm not leaving. You left, John, didn't you? You had to leave, though, didn't you?
Well,
I'm not leaving. Leaving.
It took a long time for him to leave. Trust me. I was watching that.
50,000 beans.
What's $50,000 beans to the Philadelphia Flyers? Come on. And Torts has made what? Probably $50 million in his career as a coach anyway. So what's the difference?
So go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. Talk about it.
You didn't watch it. I was actually watching parts of that game, and I got to that point where what happened on the penalty calls, Torts was right about. They were shit calls. They were bad calls given to the Flyers, no question about it. But just to see Torts go off on the bench, as soon as I seen him getting a little wild there, the first person I thought of was you, Uncle Paulie and Uncle Vinny together. It would have been perfect if we had a split screen of both you guys. Yeah, listen, he is what he is. You can say what you want about him.
Oh, he sure is.
You know what? It added a little color to my night, anyways, watching it. Because he was telling, how many F-bombs he got off, too. There's like so many. Like, fuck you, you're fucking nuts, you're fucking this. I loved every second of it. I did. I love watching it, every second of it.
Now he got he got 2-game suspension or something, didn't he?
Yeah, they gave him two game suspension. Like, what did he do? Elbow the referee? It was hilarious. Listen, it brought a little color, a little something to my day. Watching Torts. It couldn't have been anybody else but Torts. As soon as I saw him, I thought about Uncle Paulie. Oh, bro, you gotta watch the whole video again. It's great.
Oh my god, I'll download it and load it up next time we're on. Oh my god, that guy, he's something else, boy. He's definitely a character. Uncle Vinny is a character.
Hey, Anthony, what's going on? Uncle Vinny. You got to give him some kind of like credit these days. He's put Philly in a spot where they're making the playoffs. Something you claim would never happen this year.
I didn't think so, yeah, but
that by the way, those playoffs, boy, is it ever tight.
It is for yeah.
There's like 4 teams that are battling for 7 and 8, and you can throw a 5th in there. That includes Washington, believe it or not.
Washington, the Islanders.
I like the Islanders' chances.
You think they'll go ahead of who though? Philly?
I think they'll get to number 8 or maybe number 7.
I think Tampa's going to be a shoo-in. I think Tampa's going to get there. I mean, they have. What do they have?
It all depends. It depends on if our Rangers can take care of business on them tomorrow night.
Well, they need to. I will be in St. Augustine, so let me see here.
How far is that from Tampa, St. Augustine?
It's about 3.5 hours north.
Oh.
Yeah.
All I know is the Islanders have games in hand on Tampa. Washington has games in hand on everybody.
So let's see here.
Hey, Barry.
Let's see here. You got New Jersey and Buffalo and Pittsburgh.
They're done. Those 3 teams are done.
Yeah, Pittsburgh seems to keep plummeting. So, Detroit's on the outside looking in.
Yeah, Detroit's taken a big crap the last 2-3 weeks.
They're on the outside looking in, but they're tied with the Islanders at 72 points.
Yeah, how many games in hand do the Islanders have?
1.
That's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then Tampa, they're 2 points behind Tampa, and Tampa is even in games. So
even with Tampa and the Islanders?
No, Tampa has 74 points. Islanders and the Detroit Red Wings have 72.
Yeah,
Tampa's played more games, though. They played 65 games. So the Islanders have a game in hand on Tampa.
Okay.
Washington 69 points. They play tonight. They play the Oilers, don't they?
Yeah, I think so.
So that'll be interesting. I mean, if Washington can put a string together, I'd be surprised if Detroit doesn't make it. They really were really hot for a while.
They got the shit slapped out of them last night by Buffalo. I watched that.
Yeah.
It was 4-0 before you knew it in that game.
Where's Patrick Kane?
He's actually scoring points, Paulie, on that team. But and then, the funny thing is, after they got beat by 7-2 last night in Buffalo, there was a clip on one of the websites I was looking at today. There was a little scrap in practice today in Detroit. A couple of players kind of went at it. They had to break it up.
Getting pissed off.
I think it was Raymond and Chariot or something like that were going at it, and the players had to break them up. So a little tension going on there in Detroit. Because listen, they were in a good spot at one time. Now they're scrambling.
Yeah, they were hot for a while. Well, right now, obviously, the Rangers are in the lead in the Metropolitan. And then Philly, Philly's on the outside, though. They're only got 76 points. It's easy.
They're still ahead of Tampa, and they're still ahead of everybody else.
Right. Well,
until they get past or until they drop out of the 8th spot, you can't. I think they're comfortable right now, Philly. I'm not saying they're guaranteed, though.
Yeah. Well, what happens? I think Tampa's has gotten hot though lately, so we'll see. We'll see if they jump.
The hot team's Florida. Jesus Christ, can anybody beat Florida? What they did last night. Last night they were down 3-0 to a top tier team, Dallas. In Dallas, they were down 3-0.
Yeah.
And scored 4 straight goals, including 3 alone in the third to win it 4-3.
Well,
it must be the Tarasenko.
Well, he scored in his first. He scored 2 goals in his first game with them.
Yeah, we always knew that he had offensive potential, and he didn't play bad for the Rangers last year. But it is what it is. Florida's got a good team. We know they do. At the beginning of the year, they looked like crap. Everybody was, gunning for them because of how good the season they had the year before, going to the finals. Now they've turned it on the last half of the season. So if I have to say who's the best team in the East right now, I'll probably say it is Florida.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
By a little bit. I'm not going to discount Boston yet. I'm not going to discount the Rangers. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I definitely feel like Florida's the team to beat, but if you
apparently we froze up for a second there.
It's going to happen, so we'll just flow through it.
What do you got? The Canadian geese flying south or coming back north? Which one is it?
Yeah.
Busting up the waves.
So I think that the Rangers actually played them really well. If Sturkin doesn't give up that shit goal, who knows what happens there. I thought that game was a really good game. But I will say this. We were talking about Tarasenko. Tarasenko as a Ranger, I thought he played pretty damn well. I think the problem is he got overshadowed, or I think Gallant tried to overshadow him with Patrick Kane. And Patrick Kane wasn't able to play. And that was the problem.
It was hard to mix those two guys in at the same time. Listen, that whole thing between Kane and Tarasenko, regardless what everybody thinks, that was the beginning and the end of Gerard Gallant.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because he had conflicting, ideas of how the team should be and how management wanted it. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
We have a new coach there in Peter Laviolette. So
I like what Pete's done, but we'll get that in a few minutes. So, anything else around the league? Obviously, Toronto's maintained. I'm still not convinced because they're like Jekyll and Hyde, Toronto, man.
Well, you catch them on a bad night, you play their game, they'll beat you.
Oh, sure.
They'll beat you.
Sure.
They're just they're so heavily loaded up front offensively, but I still question their defense and their goaltending. I mean, but I will say this: their goaltending's been pretty decent lately. So
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen there? You know, with the Leafs. But you catch them on the wrong night, they'll beat you.
Oh, sure. What do you think about the Oilers? Where do you think the Oilers are going to wind up?
You know, I got to see it to believe it. I know they started out really, really bad this year. Didn't look good. Now they're they're still have to win some games here because they're trying to jockey for position. So with them, I'm just going to leave it at this. You got to prove it to me.
Yeah. They have one less point than Toronto. They're 81 points. Toronto's 82. They're
what I want to say about Edmonton is what I've been saying for years. It's time to show up in the playoffs and not just win one round.
Yeah.
You know, you got arguably two of the best. They call them two of the best players in the league. Always leading the league in scoring, except for this year. Right. You got to do it. You got to do it. Now, which leads me into this one. I know you're looking at it. I'm going to bring this one up. I was listening to Nikita Zadorov being interviewed. And they asked him, who would you take? McKinnon, McDavid, or Matthews? And he came out right away and said Nathan McKinnon. And they go, why? Because he wins. We'll leave it at that.
And you can't argue with them. I think we've agreed upon that. I think we've agreed that we think that all-around player, the best player. So we agreed that we think McDavid's the most skilled player on the earth.
Yeah.
But we agreed that McKinnon is the most well-rounded player.
If I'm drafting a team right now,
you're taking Nathan McKinnon first. I know.
Absolutely, he's my first choice. He's my first choice.
I agree, and he is a winner, like you said.
And I don't think number 2 is going to complain about having number 2, and I don't think number 3 is going to complain about having number 3.
Right.
You know, but I'm taking Nathan McKinnon.
Understood. You know,
this is coming from Nikita Zadorov, whose team is the Vancouver Canucks, which have the best record in the league. Coming out and saying this, you know, he played in Calgary for a long time there and saw all these guys. So, you got to give him a little credit for coming out and saying Nathan McKinnon's the guy.
Yeah. So right now, Florida has the most points. 94.
Oh yeah, and what's Vancouver got? Like 91?
91. They're tied for second with Boston. And then the Rangers are at 90 and Dallas is at 89. So Boston, Florida, Vancouver have all played more games. Dallas has played more games too than the Rangers. So Florida's played 66, Vancouver's 66, Boston has 67 games, and the Rangers have played 65. So
it's really weird about Boston, though. I watched the game last week where they actually dismantled the Leafs pretty good in Boston.
Yeah.
And when I saw that night, I'm going, wow, if this team plays like that, they'd be my dark horse pick right now to win it all. But then they go out 2 nights ago and get slapped by St. Louis at home. So
yeah,
just can't figure it out, you know.
Yeah. That's it's very.
They picked up Patrick Maroon. They don't need to get bigger, but they did, Boston.
Yeah, I think. I guess they're not bringing back Milan Lucic unless he's still out on his own personal leave. But that case was dropped.
No, I know. But we are talking about Boston. I've got a lot of good friends in Boston, but it is a liberal city and a liberal state, so that might not work well with politically being involved with domestic violence at all.
Yeah, well,
just calling it as it is.
agreed, but he wasn't convicted. So, I mean,
Doesn't matter. Does these days, the political temperature today, you could be exonerated, you could be not convicted, you could be proven not guilty, and the people still will think you're guilty. So who are you kidding?
that's true. Very true. Very true. I don't know. I mean, is there any place you want to go other than where I'm going?
Oh yeah. Another thing. Now that we're bringing it up, I did read an article. Anson Carter's got a group that he's put together about putting another fucking team in Atlanta.
Yes, I read this. Let me tell you something.
I know. I'm showing off my thinning hair here, but are you really? Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, I guess maybe they think it's baseball.
What is it? 3 times the charm? Is that what it's going to be here?
I think they think it's baseball.
Fuck
You know,
me.
you had the Atlanta Flames. The Atlanta Flames didn't last long. What was that? A 3-year journey? A 4-year journey?
Shit, I don't even remember.
The Atlanta Thrashers were how long? I don't think they did more than 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, when are they going to realize that Atlanta's the shittiest sports town in the United States?
And it's definitely not a hockey town. You're better off going to fucking Utah.
Well, apparently Anson Carter lives in Alabama.
Well, listen. In the end, Atlanta is just not a place for hockey.
Sorry, I mean the Atlanta area. That's what I meant. I didn't mean that.
I get it.
Apparently lives there. Listen, if he's got enough fish on the line that got all kinds of dough, go ahead.
Well, what are you going to do?
I will bet bottom dollar that it's connected to the TNT because they're based out of Atlanta. So
understood. Well, I think
that's got failure written all over it. I don't care what anybody says.
Here's where I think the snag is, Cots, and this is where I think Gary Butthole and the idiots in the NHL. This is where they get you. If you notice, well, the Kraken not so much, but kind of.
Atlanta lasted 8 years, by the way.
Okay, great.
With the Flames.
Okay, that's fantastic. But here's my point. Atlanta was a moved franchise, right?
Yeah.
So here's my problem. With the new lottery and the expansion, it's done much differently than it was before. If they think that's going to work, then shame on them because they still didn't get the support. And I get it. I mean, the Atlanta Thrashers had Kovalchuk, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
They had some players there.
They had some pretty big names there at one time.
So at the end of the day, man, what bothers me about that is you still have the Phoenix Coyotes just muttering in the wind there. They can't find a place to play. To expand when you have a struggling franchise, you're better off moving a franchise. Moving it to Atlanta, I don't think is the thing. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to expand into Atlanta because then it would force the NHL to produce a better team in Atlanta overall because they steal out of the expansion draft.
Well, you could put 20 Connor McDavids out on the Atlanta team. I'm serious about this. Within 2-3 years, nobody's going to the games there. Nobody gives a shit in that town. It's show me what team there. And that includes the Atlanta Braves. You know that beloved sport of every American, baseball.
I like baseball.
Snooze ball, whatever you want to call it, but and that includes the Atlanta Hawks. That includes the Atlanta Falcons, where they're knocking down doors to get tickets to go see these guys. And now you're going to put hockey in there for not once, not twice, but a third time? Just remember this. Hockey tickets are not cheap compared to, your bleacher seats in Atlanta for baseball.
Right.
Or your upper tier seats for basketball. Good luck, Anson. That's all I got to say to you. Good luck.
Yeah, I think Atlanta's a dead city for the sport of hockey, but
then I saw another article that should the league expand to 34 teams. I'm like, really? Like, how many fucking teams are we going to end up having in the NHL then?
I think they need to move Phoenix into Quebec and call it a day, man.
But isn't it time to put a little lid on top of how many teams you can actually have? What do you want? 40 teams? Yeah. So you got 20 in one division, 20 in another. Then you'll expand to Europe 20 years from now or 5 years from now.
Yeah.
If it gets that many, you're going to start polluting everything, polluting the whole league, watering it down like you won't believe.
Beth, you're telling me the Thrashers were around for 11 years?
No. Were they there that long?
I don't believe I don't believe it's correct, but
that's Atlanta still sucks as a sports market. They couldn't sell out the Atlanta Braves when they were winning National League championships. There's a reason why there's no I don't care if they're 7th in the sports market. Sorry, Anthony. I'm not buying that. I don't care what they rank them. Atlanta's not a good sports town.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Not a good sports town.
I don't disagree.
3 times? So we're going to try 3 times with Anson? I don't know. Good luck, Anson. That's all I got to say. Jason from Friday the 13th says good luck. Oh, who's texting me now? Oh, Mike Fasulo. What are you looking at?
The Atlanta Thrashers, blah, 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 were granted a franchise in 97 and became the league's 20th franchise when it began.
He's probably right then, because I do remember the Rangers playing.
Hold on. They didn't start playing until 99, 2000.
Okay, but I do remember them playing the Rangers around 2010 in the playoffs and stuff like that. Maybe a little later. She's right. But there's a reason why they have no team there again. That's all I'm going to say.
He's right. 11 years.
That's all I'm going to say. There's a reason why they don't have a team there, not once but twice.
Yeah, well, they were the Winnipeg Jets, right?
Exactly.
So,
well, that's how I think Dustin Buffalo was playing for the Atlanta Thrashers at one time.
He was.
All right, that's the last thing I want to talk about expansion in the NHL, because I don't think they need to expand right now. And like you said, if anything, if you can't get like a palace made for the Coyotes, then move them to Quebec. That's it.
Bingo. And I don't disagree with you. I think Atlanta's a bad move. They had 2 unsuccessful times. I think the only reason why they're even considering it is because they're not going to move anybody. What they're going to do is expand, and the expansion is, it gets teams instantly competitive compared to the old days where it wasn't so much. If you move the current Coyotes there, they're still the current Coyotes. But if you expand there, you make all the teams exposed, some good players, because you can't hold everybody. So that's what the expansion does. It really, really helps teams become competitive very quickly.
That's what I'll give Gary Bettman and his people credit on that one.
Yeah.
When you do get a new expansion, you're not starting with complete dirt.
Right. So, yeah, Beth says I'm right. We know you're right, Beth.
Can't question her.
I know. I can't believe I even did. 11. I was just surprised 11 years. So, total of what? 18 years? 19 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, moving on, more importantly, it is 9:01. And I'm going to let you go first. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the deadline? You want to talk about the trades?
I wasn't impressed at the trade deadline with all the stuff done. I didn't see no earth-shattering, team-changing, guaranteed, Stanley Cup winning trades. To be honest with you, I didn't. I didn't see it. Okay, who were the big names? Let's go through them. Who were the big? Hannafin, the defenseman from Calgary, is a biggie. Really? Like, great player, good player, in between great and good. But a superstar that's going to change how Vegas plays? I don't think so.
I don't disagree.
And then Tarasenko, good player. He's going to help Florida, but did Florida really need that? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Let's go over it. Like Anthony declared, there must be a problem with him. Why can't he stick with a team? He's all over the place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, what trades stood out to you? I think the best trades were actually made by Winnipeg, getting Sean Monahan and Tyler Toffoli.
Yeah.
Two bona fide veteran, been there, done that type centerman. But again,
not earth shattering, right?
No, I don't think there was any of them like that. There you go, Anthony's got to go. Let's go to Kansas City again. The Kansas City Scouts. Yes, let's go back there. Who ended up in Cleveland, or was it the other way around? I can't remember. Cleveland might have went to Kansas City. It was such a mess, those two organizations. Now you guys are short. Now Anthony, you're bringing up our age now, talking about Kansas City Scouts. But no, seriously, Paulie, what do you think about the trade deadline? Was there anything out there? What, Patrick Maroon going to Boston? Just what they need is another giant on their team. I'm just giving you this. What? Gensel. Okay, Beth, that's a good one. What did I say before the show about Gensel?
I don't disagree with you either.
All right, here's my take on Gensel.
Life's going to be a lot different without Sidney Crosby.
Exactly. It's not a given. He's gonna shine where he is now because he's not with Sidney Crosby anymore. Sidney Crosby made him what he was today. I'm leaving it at that.
So,
okay, Mr. Gensel, prove me wrong.
So I don't disagree with you. Obviously, I don't feel that there was any huge blockbuster crazy moves, but I will say that Florida got stronger by adding Tarasenko. And when we had talked the week before the trade line, I was almost convinced it was Tarasenko or it was Vetrano. And Vetrano never even got moved. Adam Henry did, but Vetrano never did.
They were asking too much.
Agreed. And we had spoke about that. It really depended on what the asking price was. What I am surprised about, but I want to talk more about some of the moves. So Gensel was probably the biggest name, and I don't disagree with you. I'd like to see how he's going to be without Crosby. It'd be very interesting to see the player that he is.
I mean, he's a good player. I'm not knocking him as a player.
No, I know.
What, is he going to fill the net like he did in Pittsburgh?
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see, But I will say I think Tarasenko was a key move, and I thought the Rangers were going to get him, especially at the price that he got. But I guess somebody got some more information on that situation where actually, he had a no movement clause, and the place he wanted to go was Florida, and that was really it. So we don't know if Drury tried to make a move for him and just he wasn't interested in coming to New York. Apparently,
I think he was probably a little peeved that the Rangers didn't keep him in the first place when he was a free agent last summer.
Yeah, well.
So, because he did say he loved playing in New York, and his wife and his kids and all that were having a good time for the time that they were here. So,
yeah.
probably a little hot under the collar there about not being offered anything by the Rangers when it came to free agency. But
Yeah, so he went.
I don't mind him at all. I mean, like, that's good. Go where you want to go.
Yeah, and I think typical late style, more maybe even Russian thinking is he probably thinks same thing we thought. Florida's unstoppable. I might have a chance to win a Stanley Cup again. So,
well, they got a good shot at it. I'm not going to say they don't.
No, I know.
It's a good spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good waiting spot for him.
But I think the Rangers played well against them 2 weeks ago, so we'll see. Gensel was the other name. Vetrano never got moved, which was a surprise. So the Rangers go out and they pick up some journeymen, some spot fillers to say pretty good spot fillers. You think of and we talked about it. We were like, I don't understand Wenberg. We had talked about it the week before. We're like, really don't understand Wenberg. And I knew that if they were going to sign Wenberg, I knew Johnny Bravo was going to get moved real quick. What I am surprised about, though, Kotz, is they held on to Kakko. And I don't mean that in a bad way. And they held everything, really. They held all their chips. And I thought to myself, is there a point of holding on to Kakko and moving him down to the third line? At this point, where are they with Kakko? Have they not given up on him and they think he's just going to be this third line role player that he is now? Or is it just wasn't the best deal? There's so many different things, but you get Wenberg and then you get Roslovic late. And apparently,
and Ruedel, the defenseman.
Yeah.
That we haven't seen yet.
Right. Which I guess that's for depth, but I still want to see Mackey. I really liked him in the one game he played. And you told me Ben Harper's skating again.
Thank you for bringing it up. Ben Harper has been skating for a couple of weeks now, from what I understand. So that could be, that's a good fallback option. So.
Did he have a leg injury? Did he have a lower body injury, knee injury, or anything, or do you know?
No, I was under the understanding he had a neck injury, but then they said it was a pectoral injury. See, back when I played, there's no such thing as a pectoral injury. That's a modern day term in the last 30, 40 years. I got a sore tip. What I got, you know what I mean?
Yeah, pull the muscle, right?
No, I mean he's been skating, so he's been skating down in Hartford. So if they need him, they could probably use him in the playoffs. They might. Depends on what Hartford is doing too in the playoffs too. You can't just disrupt Hartford what they're doing just to bring a guy up and sit in the stands with the Rangers. You know what I mean? If you're going to bring them up, they got to play. That's the way I look at it.
Oh, sure. But like I said, I really want to see Mackey too. I really like
what the Rangers did here. I'm not upset about it at all. I'm sure fans are probably thinking I could have gone or went for this, get Gensel, get this guy, get that guy. Look, what they did is they filled in the spots on the third line, like you said. Okay, they're giving a guy Roslovic a chance to play with Zibanejad and Kreider, and hopefully they'll get some chemistry. And I've said it all along. This team goes as Zibanejad goes. It's not Panarin. It's not the rest of the guys up front. When Zibanejad goes, this team goes. And they need to get Zibanejad and Kreider going at a little better than what they've been doing. I'd give them like a B- on the year.
Right.
I need them to be an A+.
Sure.
I'm running that team right now. And they're not at an A+. Hopefully this will build, and hopefully Roslovic will be right with them, mending together, getting some chemistry.
He is fast.
That's what this team needs.
Roslovic is fast. He's got good hands. So
Wenberg's pretty good too. Like he's got some good hands and good speed too. I mean, he looked pretty good out there. And then they had some opportunities offensively, with Wenberg centering. I think it's Cooley and
Kako.
yeah, Kako. They had some opportunities, over the last 2 games that they played together.
So I'm going to say that I'm going to step aside and say, listen, I was not impressed with the trade moves at all. But I think Drury really did his job. He kept the core together. He didn't mess with the team at all. He didn't mess with the potential of the team in the future here. And he went out and he filled some holes. Roslovic is fast. He's got hands. Hopefully, that's the spark that that Zibanejad needs, is a little more speed on that line, because that's going to create some opportunity. I was saying that I think Wenberg is great for the simple fact that he's now with Cooley, who is a fantastic rookie for us, and Capo, who we all know, he's strong with the puck. He just hasn't put it in the back of the net quite as much. I told Tots before the show, I really feel this way. I think what the Rangers have going into the playoffs is the bottom 6. I like the bottom 6, especially with Matt Rempe. Rempe's standing in front, screening, doing that kind of stuff. And I told Kotze, it reminded me of Dustin Byfuglien. We were talking about him. When Dustin Byfuglien was really a defenseman, they moved him forward up the first year Chicago won the Cup. They moved him up to forward so he can screen and get the garbage goals and bang and crash. And that's our Dustin Byfuglien right now. You'd be very surprised at how important a 6'8" guy is to stand in front of most goaltenders, man. So that's good. And then Wenberg and that Cooley line, they can generate some offense now. And, one of the X factors, I think Jimmy Vesey's got what? He's got 15 goals on the season, doesn't he?
And they're all 5-on-5.
Yeah. So the bottom 6 is pretty impressive. And I think, like Kotze said, you get Roslovic speed and it moves Zibanejad's line even this much more.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that. Listen, Zibanejad have been okay.
Right.
But I think we expect more out of them.
Sure.
And I think they know that. You know what I mean? We just got to get them back to playing like the A+ players on the team. That's all. I mean, that's what they have. They have to come up to that level again. And you got 15 or so, whatever, I don't know how many games left, 16, 17 games left, for that line to gel together and start to figure each other out and start putting some offense in the net, instead of worried about doing it all in the power play.
And Kotze, before the program started, you were talking, and it has to be mentioned, on how impressed you are with the defense with Trouba out.
Absolutely. I was wondering, what was going to happen pairing wise. Well, they figured that out. Put Schneider with Keandre Miller and left Fox and Lindgren alone. And I thought Schneider all of a sudden started playing like he played 2.5 years ago, like a little more physical, as well as carrying the puck out. He's been doing that a little bit more. Keandre Miller had an awesome game last night. I mean, he was hitting guys. He was making plays. Sometimes this is what's needed, like all of a sudden you're a young guy sitting in the dressing room and you looking for that crutch of that old veteran, and holy shit, he's not there. Now it's my turn.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is your time to shine. This is your time to show what you got. If you've been hiding anything, this is it. Now, pressure's on you now. Right. The weight of the world has been lifted off of Trouba right now and put onto you guys.
Right.
And they've come up pretty good. I think they played very well.
Me too.
Zach Jones has played pretty damn well too.
Yes, he has.
Overall, think about it. They basically, like what you say, they shut out. Shut out.
One goal in 3 games. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and honestly, I mean, they could have shut the Devils out, but sometimes the puck has eyes, and that's what happened.
I'm happy for them, and you need to see that out of these guys, because when it comes to playoff time, They know it already because they've had a taste of playoff experience. But boy, what a feeling it is when that puck drops in the playoffs. Trust me, it's
Sure.
totally different than what you've done all year.
Sure. Yeah, that's exciting.
Totally different.
You got to talk about Shesterkin's game, man. Shesterkin has been.
Oh, he's playing well. I mean, this is the guy we expected. He had a rough time in the middle of the season. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
He had a rough time.
He sure did. And I mean, obviously that shit goal against Florida, but it hasn't rattled him, and that's important, Jonathan Quick gets signed for another year. I don't know if we talked about that, but
we did last week. Yep.
He's been he's been such a solid guy.
What is he? 2 games away from passing Miller? As the leading wins ever in the National Hockey League. That's impressive stuff. It's impressive stuff.
He's 2 wins away from 400, right? Isn't that what it is?
I'm not sure what the number is. I know he's 2 wins to tie. I think Miller is a 2 wins to go past. Come on, Beth, you got this one. He's got to break it. He's got to break it eventually because he's signed up for another year. Even if he doesn't even have to play another game this year, which I doubt. He'll probably play a few more. He might even play in the playoffs at times. You don't know.
Yeah.
But, now we're getting down to the last 13 minutes here. Now we got to talk about Mr. Rempe and his suspension.
So
I'm going to let you go first.
Oh,
Let's talk about Matt Rempe and what happened with the New Jersey Devils.
So unfortunately, I was very busy today, and I'm very busy. As soon as we shut down the show, I got a ton of things to do. But I watched that clip probably 6-7 times. I actually was listening to the game. I wasn't able to watch the game, so I was waiting for the replays. I recorded the game and watched the recording. Listen. At the end of the day, there's a couple things I want to talk about. And I think my biggest problem is I don't even know where to start because there's so much to talk about. Matt Rempe no longer needs to get goaded into any fight. As a Ranger fan, as an NHL professional, as anything else, he doesn't need to be goading into any fights. He's not afraid of anyone, as we've seen. The kid can throw hands. The bottom line, people want to talk shit about McDermott. Oh, McDermott this and McDermott. He didn't want to fight. Nope. The Rangers were winning 1-0. It's a close game, and I bet you he's walking a fine line. He wants to play. He wants to contribute. He wants to be there. He doesn't want to do stupid things and get in trouble and not play hockey. At the end of the day, he's helped scores that goal, okay, that Gustafsson scores. In a beautiful screen, and that's going to be so important come playoff time. And I'm just tired of hearing it now. The guy will fight when he feels that it's important for him to fight. He doesn't need to drop the gloves as soon as someone says, oh, let's drop the gloves because they're trying to create something for their team. He knows what he's doing for his team. He's a teammate. So when he wants to drop the gloves, he'll drop the gloves. Believe me, he's not afraid of McDermott, and I don't know if they meet one more time this year. Maybe they'll go at it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm tired of hearing that nonsense. With that being said, listen, he's young, he's learning, he's enthusiastic, he's a big body player. He's huge. He's bigger than Chara was, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Chara might have been 6'9". I'm not positive. But regardless, he's a big man. He's very rambunctious. He's excited to play in the league. Did he lift the elbow? Absolutely lifted the elbow. Did he make sure he wanted to make contact? He absolutely wanted to make contact. But he got suspended for the rest of the game. Did 5-minute major against his team. Then he gets a misconduct. 4 games is fucking ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. There's no reason for it. 2 games would have been more than enough with the player safety. Listen, he didn't go out there headhunting. He didn't raise a stick. He didn't do what was his name? O'Reilly did. He didn't have stick up into the face and ears. Yes, he raised his elbow inside of a hockey play. It wasn't outside. It wasn't malicious intent to injure outside of a hockey play. Let's talk about the game. It's a fast-moving game. We move. The guy's allowed to fucking check. Yes, did he throw an elbow because he missed? I understand. But it's part of the game. You think it's the first elbow that's been thrown? No, but because it's Matt Rempe and he's a fucking monster, he gets 4 games. And I think it's bullshit, to be honest with you. And last week, that's the other thing. Last week, I forgot before you go, Cots, that was a fucking goal. That was a fucking goal. That puck crossed the fucking line.
It stood on the edge. It stood on the edge.
Goddamn fucking stood up like this.
There was a gap. I saw it.
The fucking goal. That was a fucking goal. Toronto sucks. They're doing a terrible fucking job. Their heads up their fucking ass. And we've been talking about it all year. That was a fucking goal. Period. The end. You're blind if you don't fucking see it. Fucking horrible. Horrible.
All right. You said what you said. And I can't disagree with one thing you said. I feel that Matt Rempe should have got 2 games, not 4. I always heard this crap about, well, it's his first offense. How many times did we hear that about other guys in the last 10 years? It was his first offense, and you give him 4?
Right.
Really?
Right.
Where was that first offense, second offense on Alex Ovechkin when he stuck out his knee and tore the ligaments off of one of his comrades against Pittsburgh in the playoffs that year? He tore the ligaments in the guy's knee, out for the rest of the playoffs. Oh no, but that was his first offense, so we don't have to worry about it. Here's what I think about Rempe. For years, Ranger fans have been crying about having a guy like this on the ice. Okay, whether he was 6'8" or 6'3", whatever, it didn't matter. Somebody that the other team has to look over their shoulders for. It's been a long time since they've had anybody like that. Okay, I know as a defenseman what it's like to play against some of the biggest fucking goons that ever played in the National Hockey League throughout the 80s. And trust me, I knew when they were coming when I went back to get the puck. And if anybody watches the game as closely as I do, when he is out there, you can see the defenseman on the other team going, I know I got to go back here and get this puck, but where is that asshole? Where is he? Okay? Because he's not gonna slow down. He's gonna come right at you. And he's gonna try to hit you. The suspension, I think, was not warranted for 4 games. He definitely elbowed the guy. He definitely cold cocked him. I guess he's gonna miss a few games. The Jersey defenseman. I'm not impressed with Travis McDermott's comments afterwards, though. Here's a guy that's been a legitimate tough guy himself the last 2-3 years. You go out to start a game, and the first thing you're trying to do is to get this kid into a fight who's the talk of the league when the game is still in question. Matt Rempe's learned in a short amount of time that I just can't go out and fight right away when the game's 0-0 or we're not, the game's not going our way yet. So McDermott, his comments afterwards just make me laugh. I mean, I know he's a tough guy and I know he's legit about it and all that shit, but please shut the fuck up, because if anybody from New Jersey wants to cry about Matt Rempe wrecking ball that knocked out Bastion, that knocked out Siegenthaler, geez, I remember Scott Stevens knocking guys out. How many times do you think he hit guys with elbows in those knockouts?
Right.
Geez, didn't they have guys like Mike Peluso on the team back in the day? Didn't they have guys like Christoph Olawa, Kenny Danikel? I'm sure they were all clean players 60 minutes every night too.
Right.
Not really. I don't want to hear any bullshit from any Jersey fans.
Right.
You didn't like it, too fucking bad. Do something about it. You tried, nothing happened. Get over it. Now I'm going to talk about Rempe's game. I'm going to be critical of him. He burst onto the scene, and the fans were just drooling from the mouth for this kind of player to show up. And he showed up. And he showed up in a big way. Exactly. I just want him to understand one thing. You can't hit everything on every shift. It's impossible. I don't care how good you think you are as a hitter. I don't care how fast you think you are as a skater. It's just impossible. He's got to tamp it down just a little bit. Be forceful. Go after these guys, but don't take 3-4 steps to hit the guy because you're going to get called for it now. That's the way the game's played.
Yeah.
And if you happen to slip a elbow up there, the next time he gets one, it's going to be a 8-game suspension because now he's going to be a 2-time offender. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's got to tamp it down just a little, not a lot. Know when you can deliver the hit and deliver it cleanly is a fine art. It's all about speed and circumstances. He took a few extra steps to knock this guy out, Siegenthaler. Trust me, I saw it. I watched the replays. He could have slowed down, could have tucked his shoulder a little more. He's just got to tamp it down a little bit, Paulie. Otherwise, he's going to be a target. Right now, he's a target for the league. They gave him 4 games, which is bullshit. Okay, should have been 2. Should have been 2. But the Rangers need this guy. And if you really watch the game like I do, I don't watch like normal hockey fans. He actually had 2 pretty good chances to score that night, too. You know, the shots on goal that he had.
Yeah.
I mean, what he's doing and what he's created and what he's going to continue to create is the other team not being so close to him anymore. Because they're like, Coach, I almost had him. You know what I mean? I just couldn't reach him. I've seen hockey's like that. When a player gets into the league, Tom Wilson's like that too. Okay, think about it. How many guys go near him? We hate his guts, don't we, Tom Wilson? Right?
Yeah.
Well, how many people go near him when it comes to normal circumstances of a game? Not many. Well, this is going to be a positive for Matt Rempe. The positive is going to be he's going to get to show what he's got skill-wise. Now, I don't know if I want to compare him to Dustin Byfuglien skill-wise, okay, like you kind of did. I don't think he'll ever get to that point. But he'll be able to work on that stuff because now he's going to have all the room in the world. Those players that are close to him in the first few games, they're not so close to him anymore, Paulie. They're not going to be like willing to be right next to him as much anymore. It's just a nature of law in hockey. When you know that there's a mean, tough guy who takes no shit from anybody, it takes a mean, tough guy that takes no shit from anybody to go near him. Well, every team in the league don't have 18 guys like that.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? So I don't want him to change his game. I just want him to slow down a little bit on the hit thing. Because he kind of reminds me of Wendell Clark a little bit when it comes to the hitting. I played with Wendell Clark his rookie year. Wendell tried to hit everything. And when he did, let me tell you, he made bodies fly. Like, he'd probably be suspended today for the hits that he had. But every now and then, he would go flying in there, and that guy would just go like this, bang, into the boards. Like a big splat. And you know what I'm saying? You see those guys do that all the time.
That's what was going to happen to Rempe last night.
Well, yeah, it's going to happen.
Nice. I got to make contact somewhere.
If he misses the guy, you're going to hear just a big splat up against the boards.
Yeah.
That's where he's got to figure that out. The circumstances and the timing of it. You know, that's all I want to see from him. I don't want to see him change his game. I don't want to see him change his attitude. He's happy. He's a Western kid from Western Canada. That's how they grow him. They grow him tough as nails out there in the leagues that they play compared to the Ontario leagues and the Quebec leagues. He ain't going to change. He's not going to change. Just got to slow it down just a little bit.
What did he do? Bye-bye, Devils.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, talking about, like all this shit about, like, oh, that was a Bush League thing to do. Well, if it's a Bush League thing to do, oh, wow, too bad. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. All you're going to do is talk back about how amateurish that was. Listen, Reeves made a living off of doing this after a fight.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? A lot of guys right away do things after they win a fight. You know, they do.
Ty Domi used to do this. Right?
Yeah, one skate on all that shit. You know what I mean? So come on. I think the reaction's just a little too much. The problem is that they beat the shit out of the Jersey Devils twice. They physically handle them again. And Jersey's not used to that. They're not used to the New York Rangers beating the shit out of them physically. So you got all these Jersey Devil fans all in uproar now. Oh. I just want to remind them one more time. Go look at your past Stanley Cup champions that you won, and you did a great job. You had great teams. I'm not going to knock them because that's the way you build hockey teams to win. You had a few nut bars on your team then too that did some pretty crazy stuff. Okay, so you shouldn't be throwing stones. That's the bottom line here with me on this. You know why? Because Kotze says so.
That's it. And I might add, and I don't know if I should add, but in a tasteless manner, Beth had sent me some information. Just Jersey fans on Twitter just talking really stupid stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on.
Talking about his dad and his, when you got to stoop that low, you're just that ignorant and that stupid, man.
Well, that's the world these days, though, Paul. That's why you see me. I got my fingertips in the dorsal here. Why I don't want to really do a lot of things on the electronics in this world. That's why I won't go on Instagram. That's why I won't do X. That's why I won't do all the other bullshit. You know why? Because you get really tough and brave when you got a keyboard in front of you.
Yeah, I know.
You want to talk about his dad? If somebody wanted to talk about my dad if I was 21, 22 years old, and you say it in front of me, we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens.
Exactly.
But on a keyboard, you're miles away and acting like a tough guy.
I'll put that keyboard right up your ass, by the way.
But that's what happens in today's world. We can get back at these people by just typing shit. Like, fuck you.
We're going to talk about, first of all, somebody they don't know who's passed away because they're that angry because they don't know enough about the game. And it's really that simple.
He's making a name for himself one way or the other. Yeah. Okay.
I love him.
If you don't like it, if you don't like it, go put your skirt back on.
Yeah, I love you, kid. And I think I've said this to everyone who's asked me. The fucking Rangers needed this for how long, Kotze? We've been talking about this. We've been beating this fucking horse to death. And finally, the hockey guys heard us, man. We finally got the guy. And I got a shit-eating grin on my face. I love this kid. I love this kid.
Let's get real about it though too. Like if he's on the playoff roster, you got to remember they got to put a playoff roster together too.
Yep.
I don't expect him to play every game.
Yeah.
I don't. I expect him to play depending on the team they play.
Yeah.
What kind of hockey do they play? You know what I'm saying?
I think he has an element that
I'm not arguing that, but he's got to learn. He's got to learn to tamp it down a little bit so he can showcase a little bit more of what he can do with the puck.
Yep, and we could just plant him in front of the net.
And he can skate around the ice and just laugh at everybody, and that'll be enough to scare the shit out of him.
Exactly. So
it is.
I love him, man, and I mean, if I'm coaching, I'm playing him. I'm fucking playing this kid until I can't play him.
I got a feeling you're going to see that, but I just say it. I don't think he'll play every game in the playoffs. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Well,
and Anthony brings up a good one too. Anthony, Sluban. Remember Sluban taking out Sammy Blade with the slew foot?
Oh yeah,
that wasn't a cheap one, was it?
Oh yeah.
You wrecked the guy's. Well, you wrecked his Ranger career. Now he's doing okay back in St. Louis, but you basically destroyed his chance to shine in New York.
Yes,
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Let's see. How many games suspension did Sluban get? Oh, that's right, 0.
Yeah. Yeah.
The league's full of shit too, like you said, with all their Videotape. They get it right.
Oh my God, it's awful. It is awful. I can't believe they didn't call that a goal. I could have sworn it was a goal. I watched it a million times. They focused in on the puck was on end. It was on end. It wasn't flat. It was over. You saw at one point when it spun over the fucking line.
When it first bounced down, it was on its edge.
It was a goal.
Yeah, I thought it was too. But
it was a goal. Everyone thought it was a goal, but they got that one wrong.
Toronto had to make the quick call to somebody else. Do we call this a goal or do we keep the game where it is?
Yeah, I mean, ever since this sport betting started to get live, I'm really starting to think, like, I really hope this ain't happening, but my goodness, you're awful in Toronto. I don't know who's making these calls, what they're looking at, but I don't ever remember talking about it so much. I didn't have a problem with I don't remember having 9 times out of 10, I remember seeing something, watching the replay and said, okay, that's the correct call. Very rarely did I sit there and say, like, Jeopardy, I wonder what the fuck they're going to do because it's different all the time. I'm serious, though.
Listen, I wish I could.
I used to look at it and say,
I wish I could have taped the sermons we get every year by the NHL and their security system that would come into our dressing rooms during training camp and tell us about the pitfalls of gambling.
Yeah.
And now it's okay now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's okay. Well, it's not okay for you to gamble, but anybody in that arena that is not a player can gamble anything.
I don't know, man. I'm very suspect of the calls this year and the reviews in Toronto. The players, you know what kills me? What's his name? Peros?
Oh, George
This
Peros.
guy was fucking garbage in the league. He was horrible.
Well, he was a useful, tough guy. I mean, he did his job when he played, but you got to remember where he's coming from. He's coming from Princeton University, which is a liberal place and a liberal town, a liberal area, and he's a liberal. So that's why he gave Rempe 4 games instead of 2.
Goonery 101. This guy don't understand. Anyway, I digress because I get so frustrated. As much as I love the game, I hate the NHL, and yet there's nowhere else to go. It's like a really toxic, bad relationship sometimes. What do you do? I love my Rangers.
Hold on a second. It could be worse. You could be watching 162 games of snooze ball.
I can't stand the NHL. I think they really have tinkered with this game and fucked this game up so much, and they can't seem to get it right. But so Ranger fans, I will say this, Ranger fans, because I know you've been waiting for this. I think Drury did a good job, man. And I'm not afraid to say that initially, I, like everyone else, was like, oh, my God, they didn't get Tarasenko. I can't believe it. Are they going to get Petrano? What are they going to do on the right wing? I don't think Roslovic is God. I don't think he's that. I think, though, with his speed and his capability, he might help Zibanejad just a little bit on that line because Zibanejad needs a speedy winger there to match his speed. So we'll have to see what happens. But the trades have been made. It's done. The Rangers have been playing really good defensively, and with Jacob Trouba being out, I really like Keandre Miller and Schneider together. And I think it's worth to see them more together. So,
well, let's hope they continue to progress. Like they played very well together, and they played a little bit more physical. Yeah, I'll give them that. They played a little more physical the last 2 games. I getting back to Drury, I think he did the smart thing, Paulie. I think we all were looking for that big splash, something here, something there. But there really wasn't, in my mind, a big splash. Getting a Gensel's not a huge splash to me. No. To me, maybe I'm full of shit. I don't know. But it's not a big splash to me because what right away, where are you going to put him right away? You going to take him on Kreider's spot? Is he going to take Panarin's spot? No.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Are you going to ruin your top two lines right away? Or are you going to play him on his off wing with instead of where Roslovic is playing now? You got to. These are the things that you got to think about before you get that guy. What do we do now? Oh, that's right. He's better than Panarin, so we'll put him in Panarin's spot. You know what I'm trying to say? You can't do that all the time. I think Drury did the right thing. Vetrano, I would have liked to see Vetrano here too, but he's got another year at almost $4 million a year, and the asking price was apparently a first-round draft choice and Kaapo Kakko. No, I said a couple weeks ago that I would probably do it if it was for the two of them, Henrique and them, but not straight up for Vetrano.
Right.
You just got enough cap problems as it is. They don't need another one for another $4 million towards the cap going into next year.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't win it all by getting Vetrano this year, you've given up a first-round pick. Yeah, I think he did the right thing. He went out and filled the spot with two bona fide NHL hockey players. Now, are they going to be superstar hockey players with the Rangers? Probably not. But they fill a spot right now. And it's up to Kreider and Zibanejad to get their giddy up and go a little bit more and leave the Trocheck line alone. Get the great goaltending, and you roll from there. That's it. That's all you do. You got plenty of depth now. You can bring Mackey up. You can bring Harper up when he gets healthy if you need him on defense. Okay? Depending on what they do in Hartford, playoff-wise, if the Rangers go deep into the playoffs, you can bring Hoffman up. You can bring other guys up and have them around the building just in case they're needed. I mean, I don't see any like teams that went out there and actually like other than Winnipeg. Winnipeg, I thought got the best value. That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't see any other team that went. Holy Christ, you got to worry about them even more now. That's just me. I don't see that. Warner was good with or without Tarasenko. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're better with Tarasenko.
They were good with or without him, though, Paulie. When they were leading the fucking league before they had him.
Yeah.
What are you telling me now? They're going to get 20 more points in front of everybody? I'm just giving you the way trades are made.
Sure.
That's all.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Gensel,
so that's it in a nutshell.
Gensel would have been better off going to a team where they actually have like playmakers. I'm not so sure Carolina has the playmakers. Carolina plays a defensive style of hockey. They smother you and beat you 4-1, 3-1, 2-1.
Yeah. True.
So, that's it. That's all I got on the Rangers. They're okay. Tomorrow's a good big game again, but you got to give them a lot of credit. Last night was the old famous 4-point game.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time, and it really was last night. The Rangers didn't win that game. All of a sudden, Carolina's 2 points behind, same amount of games. Well, now they're 6 points behind with the same amount of games. That's a big difference.
Yeah. Listen, I think at this point, obviously, we all know you got to run with what you got. This team has got a good shot as long as the play stays where it is. And, if you can get if Mika could start scoring 5-on-5 and that line could get going, I think this team will be very dangerous. The Jets are losing 4-0.
Are they losing 4-0 to Washington or to who? Nashville.
I think they were playing Nashville.
Oof.
I think the Washington game starts at 10. But that's it, everyone. They got to beat Tampa, please. But I'll be out of town. I could have had tickets to that game, but I'll be out of town. So, like to see that happen, and just keep rolling, man. Keep rolling, and free Matt Rempe. Free Matt Rempe. All right, that's it.
That's all we got tonight, folks.
Depending on the schedule next week, we'll do Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know when I'm actually back. I got to take a look at the schedule. But
Ollie, have no fear. Underdog is here.
That's cool. You picked that up today?
When did I get that? The other day? Yeah.
Bro, you got a lot of comics, bro.
I just get. This is what I do. This is who I am. I'm gonna build houses with these things.
I'm telling you,
I
man.
could probably build a mansion with them.
Bro, you can build a mansion and then some if you sold them all.
You ever seen
You
these?
know,
These are
I
new
don't
ones.
think anyone understands the amount that he has.
You know who Rob Zombie is, right?
Yeah, you showed me that. Yeah.
There's Rob Zombie's Spook Show. This one I just got in today. I got this one today. I showed it earlier.
What is it?
Jason Goes to Hell from Friday the 13th.
Oh my gosh. Too funny. All right, everyone.
Just remember, everybody, anybody got old comics lying around?
Totsy's your guy. We'll see everyone next week. Free
Ciao.
Matt Lemke. Good night.